Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 3 is Fair Sports for Women and Girls UIL version. It's passed out multiple times of the Senate in the last two, now third session, out of committee yesterday. Specifically, it requires the birth certificate at or near birth to be used as the guiding document for eligibility status in UIL. With that, I move to suspend the regular order of rules. In addition to that, 7.12 printing rules.
Secretary will call it. Oh, sorry. You're a late light, but we caught it. Karina caught it. You're recognized, Senator, for what purpose?
Questions of the author.
You yield.
I yield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Sir Perry, and you mentioned it in your layout. This bill's been passed several times. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I was unable to be here for one of those, and I just wanted to go over just a few questions very quickly. Senator, you're aware the Department of Education has recently released that LGBTQ persons are protected under Title IX. Therefore, I have a concern that this bill will be unconstitutional based on that measure and others. And I think that the legal argument is going to be that the bill is going to conflict with Title IX. Are you concerned at all with that?
Actually, I hear this legal argument made under Title VII. It was an argument, it was more of an employee-related issue. It's been extended to include the education side of this. I don't know that that's a, quote, legal standing. That's an interpretation. We'll let the courts figure it out. But in Texas, as we go forward, we will protect the biological female to participate in sports with their biological counterparts and give them that level, equal access that Title IX did as a counterpart to their male sports.
So if I heard you correctly, if I'm going to interpret what you just said, you're saying the reason for this legislation is to protect young women participating in sports. Is that, did I understand?
It is to provide fair, equitable, and safety amongst biological females to compete in their own sport and not have fear of a biological male competing in the same sport that arguably there are anecdotal one-offs show different body mass, different strength, different physical characteristics that give them an unfair advantage and provide an opportunity for unsafe play.
And I hear what you're saying. Are there documented incidences of young women being hurt by transgendered?
Actually, in my office, there is a soccer player, niece, that had an individual male on the soccer field. It's not safe. Was that the person that actually created the incident? I'm not for sure on that, but there is a fear that a 100-pound, faster, stronger male counterpart on a soccer field running over a 100-pound less female would obviously, from sheer physics, make that. But this is also about preserving Title IX. So Title IX is conflicted, to be perfectly honest, because if you read Title IX, it reflects history, traditions, and I think science, to be honest, at the time that it was written. This initiative, this issue, this new wave of concern that's being expressed by population base that probably existed, but was not part of the Title IX conversation back then.
And I know that because you've been working on this for so long that you are very familiar with the fact that transgender children do not identify in any way, shape, or form with their biological birth gender. And so my question is, do you have any concern that we may be causing some mental health concerns for these children by forcing them to compete in a sport where they don't identify, where there could be some dysphoria?
That's a tough one for me, too.
It's one of those that gets you,
Yeah.
So
the answer to the question is this. I'm sensitive to the fact that they live in a way that, unfortunately, people choose to treat differently than they should. We have laws on the books for that, but that's not the purpose of SB 3. The purpose of SB 3 is to protect the history, the traditions, the safety, the equitable play that we have all come to expect. And in our today's society, whether you agree with it or not, have put a high financial and economic premium on those competitive athletics for women and their opportunities, even down to UIL levels in high schools. Kids are competing for scholarships and other opportunities going forward. So this bill has nothing to do with the way the transgender community is treated or reflected, and those issues should be dealt with and have been dealt with through state statutes and laws regarding bullying and other factors. This bill is about protecting the history, traditions, and what Title IX granted with women back in 73, I believe we're coming up on the 50th, if not the 50th year, and the transformational moves that move towards equality for women to have their day on a sports field.
And Senator, I do believe that you believe wholeheartedly that those are the goals of the intentions of your legislation. My concern is that we have transgender children around the state who already are in many ways in their educational settings left out, set aside, made fun of, bullied. And now, the state, weeks ago, we had a youth hotline for them removed from the DSHS website, further removing them when they're in resource crisis, that some resources. And so my question is, not my question, my concern is that whether your intention is just to preserve the protections for the young women, you're unintentionally going to cause further serious mental harm to our transgendered youth.
I don't. This bill's about protecting the status quo of the woman athlete.
I appreciate you taking my time.
And secondly, I would say to the comment about removal of that, I was too a little concerned, a little further investigation. That was a portal to a political action committee.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you might want to check into that. So we have, as a state, commitment to provide those in stress from hotline support, from teen dating and violence and other private organizations.
Sure.
I would not want a resource that was being of benefit to support. But that particular portal, when you clicked and linked into, it was a political action committee for the LGBTQ community. So
has it been replaced with something that has?
I'm not aware, but so that before that narrative gets too far out there ahead in all of the press that chooses not to do fact checks, that is the reason that was removed. They were using state resources to further political action committee.
We need to make sure the resources are there for all youth in Texas.
For non-transgenders too. We want to be there for support. And I think last count I heard, Chairwoman Nelson had told us it was approximating close to $9 billion for mental health services in our current budget.
Thank you very much.